All right, y'all. So this is a tad bit unorthodox for how I usually do these, which is really odd because I do these off the top of my head. But I wanted to make this video because I I was in the like swarm of like responses from Kendra in her comment section. What I mean is, Kendra doesn't. She responds, but it's very obvious that she responds when she just casually goes through her videos and reads the comment section, and then that's about it. She usually doesn't respond hours apart under the same video. But she responded to me when I responded to somebody else, so that's why I'm making this video. Plus, I think it's a good example to use for how the typical type of double standard talk when we're talking about families and structure and order and all that type of stuff. So in this particular video, this particular thing I want to talk about in this particular video, Kendra is talking about the quote unquote insurances that women have when the guy decides he doesn't want a family, but then when the woman decides that, it's a totally different tone, and she addressed that when I said it. So we're gonna watch the clip. I think it's about 3 minutes. Hopefully Kendra doesn't strike me down for reviewing this. But we're gonna do that, and we're gonna go from there.
Yes, we did, but they changed their plan. Okay. I don't have any control over that.
This is true. But let me tell y'all, this is just a little, not a hustle. It's not a hustle. Because, yes, you can get married, have a baby by a man, and he can still leave. But now he got to pay. And I'm just like, so it's not that a ring or a marriage is going to keep them, because yes, people get divorced and they leave every day. But now, when they do that, there could be alimony, there could be assets, there's child support breakdowns. And I'm not saying that should be the hustle, but that's why if you decide to say, hey, I got to be your wife before I have your baby, these are some of the insurance plans that women have. Like, you can act up if you want to. It's going to cost you. Because right now what happens is this. When men, that's why there's really no incentive. And I'm just telling women, and men get mad at me. But I think all women, unless the guy is giving you child support, then it's cool. Because if a man is really doing right and giving for your child, you don't got to get the courts involved. But no, hold these men financially responsible for these children. And I bet you they will stop having as many kids, because it's going to hit them where it hurts, which is their pockets. So,
yeah. I was like kind of the breadwinner in the situation. So I made way more money than them. And I was engaged. So I kind of like the middle two, I kind of walked away because like it was almost like he was cheating, and then on top of that, just a minute, Tristan. He was cheating, and then it was just like, if I got married, I could possibly pay like alimony.
Oh, okay. Now
because I paid more, and I have a house. Like, I have my own house. I've been living in my house for 7 years. Thank you. For 7 years, and I make a lot of money, so I kind of.
Okay, so listen, you brought up a good, this is a good thing. Well, not a good thing, but something that's happening now is that, yes, there's women who are the breadwinners like yourself, and they got assets that they don't want to align with men with. Okay, I understand that. That's a good point. I understand that. So you're happy you didn't get married to these men then?
Right.
Okay, so now you want a man that's on your financial.
All right. Now you see how the tone changed when the woman was like, hey, I would have been the one who had to pay, so I got the fuck up out of there. Now all of a sudden the tone about a broken family is just A-okay. When at first you're like, see, these men gotta pay. They gotta, you can hold them financially responsible, and that's it. Again, people that's why we get upset. That's why we get upset about the child support talk, because if a dude ain't paying child support, it's like, oh, you're a deadbeat. You don't pay child support. That's the measuring stick for a good dad, the child support. When it's very clear that, I remember, in one of my videos in the comment section, They say a woman said, yeah. So now when y'all cheat, we can just put y'all on child support. We can ruin y'all life, alimony, everything, right? The lady with paternity court, she regularly, when she wanna get out of dude, yeah, now you gotta pay child support. It's very obvious that this is often a weapon. I don't know what percentage of child support cases are. Child support cases are weapons, and which one of them are just she literally got to chase the dude down to get anything. But it's very clear that some of them are, and that's the thing that really bugs the fuck out of me. Well, I would say a lot of us, because when you hear us talking, if I leave her, whether I want the kids or not, I want to be in the kids' life or not, whatever, however that unfolds. The only measure is if I give her some money. Remember when, what's his name, Country Wayne was on Club Shay Say, and he said he gives out about 200 racks a month to all his baby mamas. Keywords, all his baby mamas. They was all up in the comment section. Yeah, this is a real man. This how you supposed to be. See, y'all be talking, y'all brokies. And nobody never said, damn, you gotta go from house to house though. Do the kids see you? Y'all don't give a fuck about these kids. Stop lying. Y'all don't give a fuck about the kids no more than any of these deadbeat dads do. Y'all just didn't get the abortion. Y'all just didn't drop them off at the fire station. And now y'all holding on for whatever the fuck reason, usually a check. Whatever it is, that's why you holding on. And to want credit for that is just mind-boggling. You're mad at the parent that stayed? That's the only fucking difference. Both of y'all are ancient parents. You decide to be an ancient present parent. And that's the kudos and applause you get. But that's not what this video is about. Let's go to her response. And this, I believe it was, I guess that's a guy. He said, and Kendra is starting to appear stupid by the things she says. Now, I wasn't going to agree with the stupid part. I could really care less if she looks stupid or not. But I put under there, LOL. The way she changed up after she told her she didn't want to get married because of the financial difference. And she responds to me saying, made sense. She has to protect her assets. Can debate, maybe she missed a typo there. Can debatable if she should have kids in the first place. And if she was a man, you would agree with her logic. 50 Cent didn't marry the woman he has kids with for the same reasons. Actually, he will never marry any woman for that reason. So I understand her point of view. Okay, Kendra, you're assuming. You're assuming that I agree with 50 Cent. There are different ways to approach this type of situation and try to understand different people's logic. So I'll try to keep it as minimum as possible and just keep it here. So I'm not all over the place. My views on marriage in general is I believe you should try it as soon as possible. The youngest possible. I think people are better off if they put their best foot forward, true intentions forward, and try to build together from the time that, as early as possible. That's what I believe about marriage in general. As far as not getting married so you don't end up paying alimony or child support has nothing to do with marriage. The state don't give a fuck about marriage and child support. It just does not. Hell, the government don't care about alimony in marriage. If you go and look up the way a lot of these situations are handled, and it's a contradiction to what a lot of the laws are. Because in Michigan, you can be put on any form of alimony. A lot of people think alimony is millionaire status. No, alimony is period. Regardless of if it is proven that a spouse is dependent upon the other spouse financially, that spouse can be put on alimony. Your whole house can make 20 bands. If you're the only one who made the 20 bands and that spouse is leaving, y'all are getting a divorce, the judge can say, yeah, you got to pay that little whatever the rent is. I don't give a fuck what your check is. That you got to pay that rent for however many long. Like that, like that's how alimony works in Michigan. But the problem is, and I looked this up and I forget. I looked it up years ago. I can't forget. There's like a million different like laws. So they're like section this, section that, blah blah. I can't tell you where it is. So if you want to say you're lying, fuck you, fine, whatever. But living together is a crime in Michigan. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to shack up in Michigan, not romantically. You can be roommates, but you have to prove that you're roommates. It is illegal. It is a misdemeanor in Michigan to shack up and not be married. That is a crime in Michigan. But you can be put on alimony and not be married in Michigan. Who the fuck didn't address this law? This is the problem with having so much regulation in place that you ended up with regulation on regulation on regulation. That doesn't make any sense. My saying is America is poorly regulated and overregulated. Like the combination of the two is insane. But I personally believe that you shouldn't be making broken families in the first place. That's not my thing. I again, I believe I already said what I think people should do in far as family in general. But if you're afraid of like child support and alimony, I really don't know what you're running from with saying don't get married. That like I myself have never said the whole got on the bandwagon of, yeah, fellas, don't get married because there's no dip. So you don't want to. You got a chance without getting married. But you don't change anything. It's a good point by accident because you're not changing shit. You're not. Not getting married does not prevent you from child support. Not getting married does not prevent you from alimony. It doesn't. Again, I'll say this, and I guess I'll be done because I think I addressed everything she said. 50 Cent said a lot about marriage. I don't know particularly what she's saying, but again, I'm pretty sure I disagree with if he's saying something like this. I'm pretty sure I disagree. All right, but yeah, that's how I feel about it in general. I would prefer people did it as honest as they possibly could, and if they actually put their best foot forward and did it in the right steps. I'm not sure if I'm asking for a utopia in people's decision making. I'll admit that's a possible flaw because I'm asking for that in a time where people preach get married later, which I don't understand. I don't understand why the idea, and this is all men and women, they both do this. Like people think I'm a Kevin Samuels fan just by default because I'm a guy, and I disagree with Kevin a lot. Like he said, Kevin Samuels said men should get married. He should. I was listening to a clip one day, and he said men shouldn't get married until they're like 35 or some shit like that because they can't handle a woman's femininity. And it's like, well, how the fuck do they start at the danger zone then, Kevin? But this actually exposes, now that I think about it, one of Kendra's biggest flaws while doing her show. She said the same thing to somebody down here. She said, not at all. I switched up because I understand assets. Like I said, if a man said that, all the men would agree. Only a loser who wants a woman's money wouldn't agree. Now she's assuming that we're losers who are trying to siphon off of a woman. Kendra, my other belief is that finances should be combined regardless of who makes more money. For example, if I were to get married, all our finance would be in one bank account. Assuming we didn't have like some business or something, let's just say we're the standard couple who has, either my check and I'm the only one working, or both of our checks and we both work. Either way, we will have a single bank account. That's not me trying to, and I get this from women all the time on the internet, is that I'm trying to control her or something, have her money, something. No, it just makes more sense that you put your money in one pot and you budget accordingly. It just makes sense. Not trying to trick her out of her money. So if we're married and she just so happens to make more, which again I'd be okay with this, despite all of your guests going, you're intimidated. No, it's just very aggravating that women think it's okay to abandon their husbands when they go on vacation because their husband doesn't have as much money or is a broke dusty. It's a very odd opinion for someone who's married to have. But again, if she made more money, then that would just be that. It would still be one bank account, and we would budget accordingly. What women have a problem with is, regardless if they make more money or not, the man saying this is the budget that needs to be in place. Now, make it worse where you have a woman like on your show who all apparently make six figures and making more than their man. The man saying we need to budget, you need to go on less vacations. Shit like that becomes a problem then. Because it doesn't make sense that we can't go 50-50, but yet our finances are separate because you don't think I should have a say in what on the money you bring in. But yet telling me I need to pay all the bills is the fault of you having to say on what I bring in. But it gets like way too deep for this particular video. Again, because I didn't think we were going to be going there because I didn't read that part of your comment. But Kendra, if you just so happen to, I guess because of algorithm, come across this, this is a horrible way to run a dating show. And I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm trying to say if you obviously have a bias towards the men, simply because I'm not sure if the podcasts and reaction channels have made you harden towards men or if you were already like that. But again, that's a horrible way to run a dating show. To treat all the men in the comment section as if they have something against you, or worse, have something against women. Yes, I know there are a lot of assholes out there. Yes, I know there are some dudes who just can't wait but to fight to catch a woman slipping and laugh at her and clown her and blah blah blah. But you clearly have that disdain for men in general when you're running your show. It's very clear. If I had I wish I could attach a clip right here, but I'm not that good at this, which is why I only have like 450 subscribers. But I think you get the point. Be right, not positive. I'm out.